right, we are live. Hopefully, I believe everything should be working out on my audio. I'm very excited about today because I'm very excited that we get to talk about the Platinum Card and we get to talk about kind of everything about that entails. We get to talk about Leaders Club of the world, our leading hotels of the world. Yeah, it is Leaders Club. Leaders Club is the club of the leading hotels of the world. That's very confusing. Uh, so we're very excited about that. Okay. So, one of the great things I really love about leading hotels of the world is that it's very easy to use points. I don't know if anyone has been looking into that. Hopefully, my audio is coming through okay. But we love to talk about kind of all the benefits of the Platinum Card. So, let's go ahead and kind of start getting into it specifically. I want to share my window here. So, all right, let's go ahead and get into it now. Looks like more and more people are coming in. There we go. Okay, so the Platinum Card here, this is just on American Express's website. But now you've probably seen this, right? I don't have to tell you guys about this particular card because you've been watching it for the last couple of days. But what I want to kind of focus in on, at least on a little bit, is how to get the most amount of value from this card. And so basically, I want to get into specifically the new hotel benefits. So let's take a look at more hotel benefits. Here we go. So we have Hilton Honors Gold status and then Leaders Club Sterling status from leading hotels of the world. So this says, make each day memorable with leading hotels of the world. With a Platinum Card, you can receive complimentary Leaders Club Sterling status. Now, the Sterling status is the biggest status you get with this hotel, like kind of company. I'm not going to say chain because it's not a chain of hotels. Now, this is really great because being a Sterling member means you get a 5% Leaders Club bonus point on qualifying stays. So one of the things that sounds the least exciting is that with leading hotels of the world, you earn 1 point per dollar spent. And so, that doesn't seem a whole lot of nice. That doesn't seem that nice, right? So I believe that actually, so Citi does leading hotels of the world, I believe, as a transfer partner. So let's take a look at what that means. There we go. Okay, let's take a look at NerdWallet over here. So we're going to take a look at, I believe they're over here. Let's see, hotels, Leaders Club. So five Citi points become 1 Leaders Club point, which is, it doesn't sound like it's that big of a deal, right? So let's take a look at specifically what those will look like, and then kind of we can get into the best rate, the best thing. So what I'm looking at is I'm on Leaders Club website, so I'm logged in, and they're showing me kind of the points value of these rooms. And so there's only 32 hotels in the United States. They are kind of mixed around though. So we have Nine Orchard in New York City. Then we have the Hutton Hotel in Nashville, El Encanto in Santa Barbara. We have the Carillon Miami Wellness Resort, San Ysidro Ranch in Santa Barbara. So they're kind of Hotel Bardo Savannah in Savannah, Georgia. We have that. The Hay Adams in Washington, D.C. is really solid. And so there's a bunch of other there's one in Vail, obviously. The Newbury Boston is there. The Georgian in Los Angeles. Aquilina Resort and Residences on the beach in Sunny Isles Beach. And then, so anyway, there's one in Honolulu, Espacio. And so this is actually, $3,100 a night. And so it doesn't actually look like they have any points availability for the dates I've selected. Now, let's go into taking the Fifth Avenue Hotel. That looks pretty interesting as well. So let's go ahead and go up to the Hay Adams. So the Hay Adams is in Washington, D.C. And let's take a look into the hotel options. So we're looking at specifically, so the property overview, this is actually across the street from the White House, if you're not familiar with the Hay Adams. And so this is actually really, really nice rooms, but it's very expensive, right? So if you're taking a look at this particular property, we were looking at, basically, let's see, those rooms, could you with points? So let's load the room rates. So this is $884 per night and 11,000 points per night. So let's take a look here at the calculator. Let me pull up my calculator here. All right, so we're looking at 884 divided by 11,050 points. and multiply that times 100, we are looking at 8 cents per point off this. And so now the city point rate. So if you're going to convert your city points from 5 to 1, now that may be less good, right? Because if you divide 8 cents a point by 5, that's 1.6 cents per city point, which is not terrible, right? It's not a bad option. But if you actually stay with leading hotels of the world enough, then this might actually be worthwhile to you. Now, to be fair, you can't actually do anything with respect to, like, you can't transfer American Express points, right? That's not what this partnership is about. It's about giving you kind of more experience with these hotel partners. So what does this Sterling status get you? So it gets you a 5% bonus upon any award kind of earnings, right? So let's say I spend $1,000. Let's say I spend $100 on a hotel. That's not possible with any of their hotels. But let's pretend. So they give me a 5% bonus. So I get 1 point per dollar. So I get 100 points for that stay, and then a 5% bonus, which means I end up getting 105 points for that stay. And so that's what this Sterling Club gets you. But now it also gets you upgrades. So there are 5 like pre arrival upgrades certificates that you get per year by having Sterling status. And so basically, if my wife and I were to stay at the Hay Adams in Washington, D.C., we could book the base room, and then we would be guaranteed an upgrade at this particular hotel. And so I feel like the Hay Adams, or even some of the New York versions, might be kind of the ones that are more likely to be used by people who hold the Platinum card, because they're kind of a little bit easier to get access to a lot of people on the East Coast. The Vail ones seem interesting. A couple in Honolulu also seem interesting. So there's a lot of different good options here. So anyway, let's take a look here at this. Let's go ahead and throw my screen back on here. So let's take a look at the deluxe room with 2 double beds. So we could book this room if we wanted to, and that's $884 a night, and that's for the cheap room, right? So let's take a look here at the main room. So we're going to keep going. Premier room with 2 double beds, so it looks a little bit bigger. Looks like the ceiling's a little bit higher. You could get a premier room with 1 king bed. That looks a little bit nicer. And then here we go. We have a view of Lafayette Park, which is, where that's what stands between the White House and this hotel. So you actually get a view of the White House, but they're not promising that. And that's $1,400 a night. So quite simply, you could actually book this room or the base room here at 11,000 points, but end up getting this room, right? Because you get those pre-arrival upgrades by holding the Platinum card. So, that's pretty interesting, right? That's a decent deal. Now, again, you will have to pay up for some of these. There's not many that are cheap, right? So let's take a look here. Let me see if I can find any, okay, I can't really. Now there's one here, the Hutton in Nashville is $350 a night. So that's not bad, right? That's relatively kind of close for like a mid-range hotel in Nashville. Nashville hotels actually can be kind of expensive at certain times of the year. And so that's good to know. And interestingly, the Miami Beach Resort is $389. Now this is in November, I was looking in. So, that's important to note. But then there's also $2,600 for that hotel. And the one in Savannah is $299, which is not bad either. So, this is really interesting. So there's a lot of really solid options that are in relatively affordable. This one in Vail is actually $255 a night, and that's in November, so it's not quite snow season. That's probably why. The Newbury in Boston, $642. I'm not sure where in Boston the Newbury is, but that's not a terrible option as well. So anyway, and then of course we have the Georgian here, $432 a night in Los Angeles, which I feel like Los Angeles $400 a night isn't bad. What do you guys think about that? Is it terrible? Are you never ever going to use this, right? And the Hasbrook House in New York, $474 a night in November. Not terrible, honestly. Let's see. Yeah. So you can get some ones for around $300 a night. Oh, here's one in Houston. So the Hotel Grand Duca in Houston, sorry, is $283 a night. So that's not bad. There's a bunch of different options. Now, the Hotel Chelsea, this one actually looks really cool. I would love to try this one, but would I pay $780 a month or a night? No, probably not. Maybe a month. The Knickerbocker Hotel. So there's a bunch of different options, and not all of them are terribly expensive. So that is certainly one option, right? So there's other ways to get value too, but that's really solid. Now let's kind of review in the hotel theme what kind of value we get from from being able to actually from the Hilton part. Let's talk about the Hilton leadership or the Hilton program. So the Hilton benefits we get with the Platinum card. If you don't hold any other Hilton credit cards, it's going to give you Hilton Gold status, and what that does is it gives you access to upgrades ish, right? They have a lot of diamond people because they're kind of throwing it at anybody who opens up a business account, says a number of times, and also anybody who has an Aspire card, which it's not terribly difficult to get. And so, you're probably not going to get access to upgrades, but what it does get you is those hotel food and beverage credits. And internationally overseas, it also gives you access to, having the continental breakfast, right? So I stayed at 2 hotels overseas, well, actually 4 hotels overseas. And at each one that was a Hilton stay, I discovered that if you were gold status, they gave you access to the continental part of the breakfast. So like, the croissants, the cheese plates, like in London, there was a scone section, right? So you get access to that. But with being a diamond member, we actually got access to kind of the hot items on the buffet, but also there was a menu that we could order anything from. So we ordered cream tea, which is just like a tea setting with, the double clotted cream kind of thing. And so that was a solid option, but, having diamond status is great, but having gold status is solid. For the platinum card at $895, maybe it should have diamond status. It feels to me like that would be good. But then again, I do understand that Hilton and American Express want you to have multiple cards, right? They want you to have that Hilton Aspire card in addition to the Platinum card. And it turns out that I actually have both of those. And so, I get it, right? It makes sense that would be kind of what they want out of it. But the Hilton Gold is not a bad option. And especially what's great here is that if you have an authorized user, this is a really solid way to earn or give them gold status. So you don't have to worry about like if your significant other is going on a work trip and you want them to be able to have, if you want them to be able to have the ability to actually, get their benefits while this is going on, then that's kind of a big deal. All right, I'm hearing that my camera isn't doing well. Let me see if I can fix that. That's weird. All right, let's see if that fixes things maybe. Hopefully that did fix something. Okay. All right, I changed my connection method. I'm actually plugged in this time, so it should be better. But if it's not, then that is a problem. Let's see. Let me just connect this one then. It should be working. Hopefully it's working. All right. Let's see. My session expires. Okay, great. Thanks so much, James. I appreciate you letting me know. All right. So we were taking a look at the Hilton hotel benefits. Where was that? Okay. I don't even know where I am right now. All right. Okay. So, So hotel benefits. All right. So we were looking at the Hilton Honors benefits. So you get upgrades ish. The daily food and beverage credit is great. And then, this is kind of a standard thing, but 5th night free when booking with 100% points. This doesn't actually work or combine with, the free night credits. So if you have a number of free night certificates, that actually isn't included in this. And another thing that's kind of crazy is whether or not you would actually stay at a place for 5 nights. My wife and I are planning a trip to Edinburgh and, kind of the Scottish Highlands. And so, we wouldn't want to stay in Edinburgh for 5 nights. We'd probably stay for like 3, maybe 4 nights and then kind of travel on from there. And so I don't know if I would ever actually use this. In fact, actually, several years of staying with Hiltons, I actually haven't ever done this. So I wonder what the take rate is on that. But, honestly, they enjoy 2 complimentary bottles of water per stay at select properties. That's such a huge difference. My wife and I, when we got into a hotel after, we went to we went to Hershey Park, right? And then we got, to the hotel, and then we got back, and we had the cold bottles of water waiting for us, and that just kind of just made it just feel so much better. So, that's nice too. The Marriott Gold status is probably the least good. It doesn't even give you free food. You do have access to, kind of maybe better upgrades ish. The things that I always been able to get as a gold status member is late checkout at 2 o'clock, which is certainly better than 10 or 11, like some properties are requiring you. But we've also been able to get early check-in too. So I was able to check in at the last Marriott hotel. My wife and I were in Huntsville, downtown Huntsville, and we were staying at an AC property, and they were able to actually get us in pretty quickly. And so, that is nice, being able to check in. I think it was like maybe 1 o'clock, get us straight into the room. That was really solid. So, the Marriott Gold status, it's not definitely as good as the Sterling status with the leading hotels of the world or the Hilton Gold status, but it's still good, right? You'll still feel better than most people, and that's going to be really important. James says it's always little things that make the experience. Yeah, 100%, right? It's funny because I know like the acquisition cost for those bottles of water are like probably 25-30 cents per bottle, but it makes you feel better when you have something like that. That's amazing. I do actually still have on a bucket list to stay at the Conrad in New York, because I think that was recently renovated, and I'm kind of excited because they actually give you a Conrad labeled water bottle that you can actually take with you, and they actually have water bottle fillers in your room, which is really, really cool. That seems really great. Corky, thanks so much for being here. Good morning to you as well, and good afternoon actually if you're on the East Coast, like me. We're just kind of getting in there, but man, Clemson is really getting it handed to them with that Syracuse game. That's pretty crazy. Although it seemed like the refs were really helping Syracuse out on that last drive. I guess that was what 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago. Okay, so let's get back into. So we talked about the hotel statuses. Now let's take a look at the travel insurances. So nobody ever really seems to talk about the travel insurances. So the car rental loss and damage insurance, this is kind of a big deal, right? So getting into your rental car can be the start of a great vacation. So this gives you, the coverage that comes with the card is not that great. So it is secondary unless you're overseas, in which case it is primary. But you can actually pay for the premium version of the collision damage waiver, which gets you primary in the United States. And that's actually going to be a set rate per rental period. And that's actually going to be good because, you don't have to pay the daily rate with each individual kind of rental car company. And so that's really great, but it's also important to note that coverage is not available for vehicles rented in Australia, Italy, and New Zealand. So I know that Anthony Venture went to Italy. I wonder what his situation was with rental cars. I haven't had a chance to ask him directly yet, but that should be a good question. Trip delay insurance, booking the trip is easy. So if a round trip is paid for entirely with your eligible card and a covered reason delays your trip more than 6 hours, trip delay insurance can help reimburse certain additional expenses purchased with your same eligible card up to $500 per trip. So this one here is basically worthless. So first of all, most of the time when people are booking these stays, it makes sense if you're paying cash for a ticket. It makes sense to be able to book it round trip. But if you are, say, just using points, then it doesn't make sense to book round trip. And most of my international travel is going to be with points because I'm trying to get those outsized redemptions for business, for first class, right? And so this isn't going to help me because it's not a round trip booked on this card. And so for those kind of experiences, it makes more sense to actually get travel insurance, although that can be kind of hefty, but it can come in handy. Now, with that said, I've actually never purchased travel insurance. I did 2 international trips, and it didn't kick me then. Although I do feel like for a larger trip that I have coming up next year, I actually might get travel insurance just because I want to make sure that we're good and we're covered no matter what. There's trip cancellation and interruption insurance. So despite our best efforts, sometimes things happen that are out of our control. If you purchase a round trip entirely with your eligible card and a covered reason cancels or interrupts your trip, trip cancellation and interruption insurance can help reimburse or your non-refundable expenses purchased on the same eligible card up to $10,000 per trip and up to $20,000 per eligible card per 12 consecutive month. And so this is a little bit better, right? So if you know, like, if there's something happens that's a covered expense, right? And let's say you're not able to go anymore and you have to cancel, right? This can help you, right? So some of those Viator bookings are uncancelable. Some of those, it's things where, you're trying to maybe get an advanced rate on a hotel or something, save some money. This can help kind of cover your situation, which can be quite helpful. All right, let's get into the fun things. So let's take a look at Uber Cash and Uber One Credit. I've actually surprised at how much confusion I've seen on this on Reddit. It seems like a lot of people are confused that the $200 Uber Cash credit is all there is, but you can also use it for Uber One. So it is two separate credits, which is nice. And the Uber credit is actually better than the Walmart Plus credit. So that's kind of a weird connection to make. But with Walmart Plus, you have to get the monthly rate, and that's the only one that's covered. Or even if you do get the annual rate, it's only going to be covered up to $12.95 or whatever the monthly cap is, and so that's kind of a big deal. But with the Uber credit, you can actually get the annual credit, or you can get the annual plan, put it on your card, and it will cover up to $120 of that service. And so that's really nice. So you can get the monthly one, you can get the annual one, and still get the credit, which is nice because if you plan on buying the annual credit and then canceling the card, which I'm sure we'll get data points in the future about, it seems like you'll still be able to get access to that annual benefit, at least until, that year runs out. So, this is really nice to be able to do this. So I will definitely be signing up for this one. And then, of course, the Uber Cash staying the same, I'm really happy about, because the Uber Cash was actually really easy for me to use, because I use for Uber pickups around my office, downtown Orlando. We have a number of kind of sandwich shops or taco places that are on Uber Eats and Grubhub. And so kind of I switch which one I want to get takeout from, depending on which credit I'm trying to use. And so that's really a solid, easy way to get money. And then Uber One, honestly, if you're going to be using your Uber Cash, it just makes your Uber Cash kind of that much easier and that much easier to get value from, specifically if you're doing delivery. If you're doing pickup, Uber One doesn't really save you that much. Let's see here. James says having travel protection is always good in case, especially on long distance travels. Yeah, exactly. So having those travel protections is huge. And that's one of the reasons why I keep the Ritz-Carlton card around, because if I'm not working on, say, an American Express offer or an American Express sign-up bonus, most of the time those larger purchases are actually going to go on my Ritz-Carlton card. And the reason why is because that has really kind of insane travel protections that I really could get a lot of use out of. And so, that's kind of in my arsenal. But my wife and I were actually doing a road trip for Thanksgiving break. We're driving up to the family mountain house in North Carolina. And we were going to use the Ritz-Carlton card because we're actually renting a huge vehicle. We're trying to get the Excursion, the Max one, because we have another family that's coming with us. And so that's going to be a lot. And we were going to save a decent amount of money, but we had an American Express offer for Enterprise where we could save, I think, an extra $60 for using, I think, my Aspire card is the one it ended up falling on. So that's, basically kind of, I'm definitely going to make sure to use the premium travel protections on that one, so I get the nicer protections. But that is a really nice benefit. Now the airline fee credit, it stayed the same, which is nice. Now it would have been nice if they kind of made it a little bit easier to get value from, but for some reason they didn't, and so that's just the way it is. All right, let's take a look at some of these other ones. So we have the Clear Plus credit as well. So just for clarification, your authorized users can use this clear credit, but it's only up to $209 per account, which means that if your authorized users use it, then essentially you won't be able to use it on that card. And so my wife and I have the Aspire card, and I also have the Platinum card, and I also have the Business Platinum card. So this year, my wife charged it to the Business Platinum card, and I charged it to the Personal Platinum card, and so we both got Clear covered. Now, in order to actually do it that way, you both have to be on separate individual accounts. So if you add your wife to your account, and I'm assuming wife because most of us in here tend to be guys, essentially, basically, you can't charge that to multiple credit cards. And so it has to be separate, different accounts, and each card can be kind of assigned to both. But if you want to get Clear Plus paid for, That's a really solid option. And so, I definitely think I'll be keeping the Aspire card just because I love Hilton Diamond status. I love the free night award, and then having that extra clear credit a month is certainly worth something to me. I wouldn't value it at $200 because it's only saving me 120, but it's still nice to have. And so that's a nice one as well. And the multipliers didn't really change that much. We were kind of hoping that they would, but they didn't, which kind of sucks. It would have been nice to get 6x on, like the portal, or even a 7x I would have liked. I would have loved if there was like a 1.5x multiplier or even a 2x multiplier, but that just didn't happen, sadly, which is really bad. James, thanks so much again. Uber One is goated. Amex made a good call to add that. Yeah, absolutely. I think if you're talking about Dash Pass or whatever the Grubhub thing is, or the Uber One thing. The Uber One seems to be the one that I use the most. We actually have all three for free. So we have the Amazon Prime card, and by having Amazon Prime, we get access to the Grubhub version of whatever their system is, and then we get Uber One covered by the Apple Card, the Delta Card, and now the Platinum Card, and then we get the DoorDash or the Dash Pass covered by the Sapphire Preferred Card that we have. So we have a little bit of different ways. Okay, yeah, this is an interesting point. So Corky says, in an interesting way, I think of the Platinum as a hybrid card. It's a cashback card that happens to earn elevated points on travel. Interesting. So Corky, with the Platinum card, how do you cash those points out? So I did a cash out recently, and I was able to get 1 cent per point because I have the business platinum card and a business checking account, and that's how I was able to get that 1 cent per point. I do know with the Charles Schwab card, you can get 1.1 cent per point, and so that's really nice too. And so that's a great way to do it. All right, Corky says, I do things like realized savings mixed with high yield savings account, and it helps with renewing the annual fee. Okay, that's great. Okay, that's a great way to look at it, actually. I think my personal approach is just like I'm always working on at least 2 checking account bonuses. Right now, I'm just waiting for my Wells Fargo one to actually hit, and then Bank of America I'm almost done with as well. I'm actually probably going to hit that $500 one. Which is going to be nice for that. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, if honestly, whatever works to help pay for that card is incredible. All right, let's take a look now at the hotel credit. So this one, I feel like I was listening to the Frequent Miler podcast earlier, and they were talking about specifically this can make or break the access to, or whether or not this card makes sense to you. And $600 is a lot of value, right? But you have to talk about whether or not it makes sense to do it at that level. And so you do have to cherry pick. You do have to make sure, like when I'm looking at a hotel, I love to look at the Amex travel portal in one window and then Hilton on the other window. Do the same day search, the same rate, right? So I'm always looking for a refundable rate, at least until maybe I get a little bit closer to knowing that my trip is locked in. And so, like if that rate is similar, right? So within maybe $20 a night, the same, I probably would lean more towards booking it through the Amex travel portal, because specifically if it's in the Fine Hotels or Resorts or the hotel collection, you can actually add your membership number to that hotel booking. And what that does is it gets you access to, especially your loyalty benefits from that hotel chain. And then it gives you access to earning higher points with that hotel chain. So my wife and I, we stayed at the Conrad in Fort Lauderdale for a little bit, specifically because Uncle Luke just kept talking about it. I was like, I've got to check this thing out. And it was great. We got the room upgrade to the ocean view 1-bedroom suite, and so that was really nice. And then, but we also got access to the free breakfast, and then we also got access to kind of the food and beverage credit from having diamond status and the whole 9 yards. So it was really a solid opportunity. I liked that. Really went amazing. All right, so Corky said not necessarily cashing out, but like I use realized savings. So when I use my $300 credit, I put $300 in my house. Oh, okay. All right. That's actually a really great way to look at it. I just kind of, think about that as, I'm saving money going forward, but that's really cool. I have to think about doing that moving forward. Vegas is amazing with this credit, but I know Vegas has negative sentiment right now. Yeah, it seems like a lot of people don't like Vegas right now. I haven't actually been to Vegas, but I don't know. I don't know if I will. It's not like that. I don't have anything against it. It's just my wife would rather go to other trips, and honestly, if we're going to use points and miles, I think I'd rather use for those other things too. But yeah, this credit is definitely solid with that. There's a lot of really nice places in and around Atlanta is really great. And then Orlando has some really great options. And actually, even in London, I was able to find some great options in London and even in Edinburgh and things like that. And so let's take a look, actually, if I can. I'm going to take the screen off so I can make sure that I'm not going to give you my login information for American Express, because that would be bad. I'd like to keep my points. Um, but yeah, no, the Fine Hotels and Resorts is actually, I love it. I love the program. All right, let's take a look at my account. Corky says you can find some amazing deals. Like I saw a 4 to 5 star hotel at like $175 a night. And we usually book a trip Wednesday to like Saturday. That's amazing. I love that idea. So that is really huge, because like being able to save money, and also honestly being able to book not on the weekends is a huge deal as well. It's a great way to save some money, but also kind of a way to kind of extend that trip out, which is great. So with $175 a night, you can do the hotel collection for 2 nights, and so you can actually use that, that credit to pay for 4 nights if you do it the right way. That could be fun. But I'm also thinking about it because I have the business platinum and the platinum card, which means I have $600 in hotel credits I have to use between now and the end of the month. So, oh no, I'm going to have to do a trip. It sucks. All right. I'm trying to get the book a trip out. It doesn't look like I would share my information. So let's go ahead and put it up. All right. So let's take a look. I want to look at, let's look at Orlando. Because I know Orlando tends to be a popular travel destination. We're just going to let's do a random 2 days in January, so we can make sure to see the hotel collection properties as well. I'm actually going to zoom back out a little bit. All right, just waiting for this to come through. All right, 623 results. All right, so the Conrad Orlando is incredible, actually. So this one here, 2 random nights in January, $483 per night. So $483 per night is actually really solid for this property. During the summer, it's usually around $800 a night. So January, you probably won't be able to use the pool too terribly much unless you're kind of a snowbird or something like that. But yeah, so if you are going to stay, like, this significantly discounts your stay, right? So that would nearly cover at least 60% of the cost of the first night, right? So that would be solid. But in addition to that, you get the free breakfast and the property credit, which their spa at the Conrad is insane. And so that's nice. Now the Waldorf Astoria here, $600 a night. That's actually a little high for that property. My wife and I, last time we stayed, we paid about $350 a night. And so that was interesting. So the Lowe's Portofino Bay, 808, that's actually a little bit on the low side for that particular property. JW Marriott, if you're going to stay at the JW Marriott, don't do the Bonnet Creek one. The other one, the Grand Lakes one, is a lot better. But yeah, $474 a night is still solid. The Omni Orlando is nice. Champions Gate is a little bit further out. You have to go on I-4 to get to the hotel or the parks, which is not so good. Four Seasons is there, but if you're booking the Four Seasons, you're not looking to save $300 because it's not going to do that much for you. The Ritz-Carlton Orlando here, there must be a convention in town, because $3,400 a night is not the average rate. So there must be a convention or something going on that week, because I've seen it go for around like $300 or $400 sometimes. Now the Ritz residences, these are actually like homes on the golf course. So $9,000 a night is actually kind of cheap for that particular property. Now the hotel collection, the Margaritaville Resort, is actually kind of nice because they do have kind of like that Conrad system, but $228 a night is not bad. So you can actually, that $300 can go to cover not only a full night, but part of your second night. And so, honestly, paying $300 for 2 nights at the Margaritaville Resort, that could definitely be worth it. And let's see, view property amenities. So they have Wi-Fi. There's that. They have restaurants, parking, spa, and then free water park access. Okay, so it gives you access to H2O water park. That's solid. That is really solid because that's not a bad water park. Walt Disney World Dolphin. So this is actually directly one. It's a one boat away or a short walk to Epcot, and then from there you actually have access to the Epcot monorail, which gets you to the rest of the Disney transportation system. So this is actually a really solid one if you're trying to both earn Marriott points or use Marriott points or Amex points for a Disney stay. So this is actually one of those properties where it's actually really great because it's officially on Disney property. So this is really solid too. The Swan is the smaller of the two hotels. So the Swan and the Dolphin, they were both like in the early 90s is when they were built. So they're getting a little long in the tooth. But $400 for a night is not bad for that one. I think that's close. I think we paid $450 last time I stayed there. So that is good to know. The Signia by Hilton Orlando. This is nice. This is actually the same property as the Waldorf, and they actually are the one that have the water features. So they have kind of a wading pool and then a lazy river, and it actually is a lazy river. And then the JW Marriott Grand Lakes, 18. There's definitely is a convention going on because that's not the normal rate. I think it's usually like $400 or $500 a night for that one. The Swan Reserve is actually brand new, just recently opened. That's a really nice hotel too. Lake Nona Wave, that is way out in the middle of nowhere, but it's a pretty cool property. They have a lot of interesting aspects to it. And then Universal, so that's not available. But yeah, so we have a lot of different options in Orlando and some ones that are actually really, really solid value. For example, like staying at Margaritaville Hotel Resort, you can use that hotel you can use that credit really nicely. In fact, because I have both of the cards, I might actually have to stay here. That is a really solid option. All right, so let's take a look. There's some there's some really great deals or discussion going on. So Corky said it's a hotel collection hotel, but it's a former Fine Hotels and Resorts. I've seen that a lot. So the Conrad in London was like that too. It used to be Fine Hotels and Resorts and then got downgraded to the hotel collection, which is a little bit different. So the rules are a little bit different for that. The Clear Plus gets expensive when you add folks permanently. They try to get you to get the family plan and you pay a lot. I was planning on switching up this year so that my wife has her own account. Yeah, it's not that difficult. My wife she did have to re-register when she went back through Clear, but it wasn't that much of a difficult situation. Like it was just kind of just showing her driver's license at the at the airport, and so that was not that bad of an option at all. I had the Platinum Biz, and the Delta Reserve, so I had to figure out which of us on what card. I put my niece on it when we travel together. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, you do have to make sure because, I talked about this with the reps at Clear to kind of figure out like what was needed, right? What should I do the most? And it seemed to me that, you definitely have to make sure you keep the cards like, separate, right? You have to be able to know. So that is kind of crazy. But yeah, it's nice. It's weird that American Express is the only one that actually gives you Clear paid for. Like there's no other banks give you that Clear credit, which is kind of weird. Like I think some of them, like the United ones, give you like a significant discount, but you don't get it just completely paid for on any other card other than American Express, which is wild. Okay. All right, so let's continue talking about this one. So where is there another place that you guys would rather me look? If so, let me know. But let's take a look at in the meantime while we're waiting for you. Let's go back into the search. They redid their website. They changed how this flows. Okay. So let's take a look at Atlanta. So I am kind of trending south because that's kind of what I look at regularly. I'll keep the same dates. But again, if there's anything you guys want me to search up or kind of take a look at, we can definitely do that. All right, so we have 417 results, and there we go. So the Waldorf Astoria and Buckhead. So the Buckhead Waldorf Buckhead is north of Atlanta. It's kind of a little mini city, and it's where all the nice hotels are. We'll see that. So the Waldorf for 625 is on the upper range for this area that I would say. The Thompson, which is Hyatt, nicer Hyatts, right? 441 a night. That's about average, and so it seems like they have a decent amount of fees associated with that. The Ritz-Carlton is more downtown. It is a more established property. $949 per night is significantly higher than I've seen some of the rates go. So I've seen it be around $350, $400 a night sometimes. So that is important to note. Intercontinental Buckhead, that's also kind of in range, $434 a night. So that could really go for, so if you did have the business platinum card and the personal platinum card, then you could get 2 free nights here, which would be pretty solid as far as, or basically 2 free nights here. The St. Regis Atlanta is kind of on the upper end, right? That's always going to be a little bit expensive. I don't have any experience with the Fourth Hotel, but the Omni Hotel is, the Omnis are nice. $386 a night isn't terrible actually for that. I would be okay with that. The Whitley collection is interesting. So this one's $449. I have seen it actually lower than that. So I think the one dates that I was looking at in October, it was like $270 a night, $275. And so that's certainly definitely good. Lowe's is good. The Four Seasons again is pretty expensive, but honestly, $300 off of a $900 a night room, that could be worth it if you're trying to, punch a if you're trying to punch a bucket list item, right? The Grand Hyatt in Atlanta and Buckhead, $300 a night. It's not terrible. Canopies, love canopies. Hilton Atlanta Midtown, I definitely want to stay there. That would be cool if it was close to what I was doing. Kimptons are in this. This is nice. So having this Kimpton is great. And so that's solid. The Kimpton Shane, the other Kimpton in Atlanta, Epicurean Atlanta. Yeah, so there's a lot of actually really solid options here that I would be considering. So that's really solid. So there's a lot of rates, and the rates aren't terrible, right? So that's really important to note. So anyway, so that is definitely one thing that we wanted to talk about. But now let's take a look at some more Platinum Card benefits. So one thing that was kind of surprising is let's just show the value breakdown. So $850 plus in value with Global Lounge Collection. That is interesting. So 10 complimentary Delta Sky Club visits. Now these are day passes, right? So it's not just individual lounge visits, which are nice. And then Priority Pass Select membership, which you do have to enroll in, but that's really solid. We talked about the Uber stuff, the airline fee stuff, the fine hotels and resorts. Now the Resi credit. So what do you guys think about this? So I saw an ad on YouTube where they were basically trying to pitch the Platinum Card as the dining card. And I don't know what you guys think about this, but I know what I think about it. I wasn't really a fan, honestly, because the Gold Card is supposed to be the dining card. So if the Platinum Card is the dining card, it doesn't really make any sense to me. Does it mean that they're going to get rid of the Gold Card? I mean, probably not, because there's way too many people that sign up for that. But I will definitely use the Platinum Card to get that $100 Resi credit. But if let's say I was spending $200 on a restaurant for this stay, I would definitely try to put $100 on the Platinum Card and the rest on a Gold Card or something, just because giving up that 4X is problematic for me. I definitely wouldn't want to do that. I'm happy with using the Resi credit. There's plenty of Resi credits, $100 a quarter. I can use that. I can use that all day long. And so that's kind of a really solid option. Corky, what would you recommend as a recommended savings amount for points? We're looking to book hotels versus booking for flights, like $100K for hotel versus $300K for flights. Well, so I guess I have to answer that by kind of showing you kind of what I've done with my points, right? So pretty much the vast majority of my points have been redeemed for flights. So we're taking a look at, so I was able to get about a little bit over 3 cents per point with a recent Delta domestic first class redemption. And so I was happy with that. It was kind of expensive, but I was happy with it, right? Because I get to sit up front and, get the free drinks and everything, which is nice. The hotel thing with the newest Hilton devaluations is harder with American Express. So with Hilton, you could quite frequently find high value at some of these high value properties, and you could possibly get maybe 1.2 cents per point per Hilton point, which means you're getting 2.3 cents per Amex point, which is solid, right? That's definitely on the higher end of kind of what's possible, at least with hotels through American Express. But what we're seeing with some of these devaluations is that it's harder to get that 1 cent per Hilton point. And so the fact that that's harder means that your American Express points probably won't be worth as much if you're transferring to Hilton. Now, can there still be can there still be an argument for using for transfer to Hilton? Yeah, obviously, right. Whatever works for you. But if you're trying to figure out what makes more sense, I think you'd get more value from those flights. At least I have. So with Delta points, right? So I've been able to get even like domestic economy flights for like $3,000, $3,500 or 3,500 Delta points, not dollars. Sorry. And so, that can save me like 1.6, 1.7 cents per point ish, which could be higher than what I was experiencing with Hilton. So it pretty much just depends on what you want to do, right? Like if all you care about are hotel stays, then absolutely do those hotel stays. But I would say that all of my Amex points so far have gone to either cash out at 1 cent per point, which I did that for business reasons. Like I actually got this microphone with my cashed out points. But I also for hotels. Oh, my connection is choppy. Okay, you know what? Actually, let me go ahead and hopefully I don't drop out. Actually, okay, I'm back. Hopefully, I'm back in a better way than before. Let me know. I tried to do an Ethernet connection, but it doesn't appear to have actually been working as well as Wi-Fi for some reason. Let me know if that fixed it. Hopefully, it did. I'm not sure what to do at that point if it's not. Okay. Hopefully that fixes it. Okay, so Corky continues. It's the ultimate card to some degree, but earning rates beat it. Yeah, it is a great card. It definitely does make sense, right? If you're purchasing flights, this is solid, especially when you're actually talking about some of those Amex offers. So I've seen a couple of American Express offers actually. Let me see if I can pull up some of them. So there was one that I had on my account for I want to say for JetBlue that was really solid. So this option, let me see if I can pull it up. It's going to take me a couple clicks to get over to there. Um, Getting over to the offers. But so there was a JetBlue offer, and it was a kind of a low spend requirement. I think it was like $250, and I would save $60, which it's pretty easy to get value from a JetBlue flight, and it's not too terribly difficult to get flight credits when you actually actually like return your, or if you cancel your flight and you book the right seat type, you can actually get pretty good flight credits that you can use kind of book afterwards. So even just buying $260 in flight credits isn't bad, right? So that's really important to note. So let me see Amex offers. There we go. I'm still looking to confirm, but there were also a couple of others that were really nice too that I wanted to talk about. So let's see new. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh no. Here's what it is. So it's $250. Earn 5,000 membership reward points. So essentially $50 cash value. So that's important to note. So that was nice. Now you have to enroll by 9:30 in order to get that one. There was also another Canada Goose offer, which was $800 of spend, earn $160 back, which that can get you a jacket, which is nice. So that's really solid. Let's see here. There was also a Tumi. So Tumi is the luggage company. They said spend $300 or more, earn $60 back. So that's not a bad offer either. So I'm really happy about that too. And then we have a Hertz one for spend $500 or more, earn $100 back. And so a lot of these are actually really, really cool. Let's see if there's another one. Oh yeah, there's a Max Mara. I don't know what that company is, but if you spend $500, you get $100 in cash back, which is actually pretty nice, right? So we're happy about that situation. And so, but yes, there's a lot of interesting offers that kind of came out with this, which I was happy about. Okay, so we were talking about Resi. I guess we can actually talk a little bit about kind of where to go with Resi. So let's see. I actually want to show some of the restaurants in Louisville. So my friend of mine and we traveled to Louisville, and so we're going to take a look at some of these options. Switch account. Okay. No results for Louisville. Okay, come on. Oh, did I spell it wrong? Oh, you know what? I'm searching in New York. That's so wild. Okay. There we go. Okay. So we're searching in Louisville now. Let's take a look at see all results. Okay. So in Louisville proper, so this is actually one restaurant that my friend and I went to. And let's see if they have any pictures. They don't have any pictures. But I really, really like this place. Let me actually see if I have maps up. Dasha Barbers. All right, so my friend and I went here. It was kind of soul foodie. It was really, really cool. So they had some really great mac and cheese, some really great fried chicken that we tried. They had actually really solid drinks, really good drinks. The fried green tomatoes were really good. And so let's see. Oh yeah, that was a like an apple kind of baked dessert thing. That was really solid. And this was actually really good. This was a kind of a spicy cheese and corn dip that we tried. That was really awesome. Let's see what else we got. We didn't do this, but I almost did. The chicken and waffles. So this one actually was really, really solid. It was a little bit more expensive than I expected it to be, but it was definitely good. It was very spicy, which I liked. But yeah, we tried there. We didn't go to J. Alexander's because that's kind of a chain, which I'm sure you guys are connected to or know about at least a little bit. And so let's see. All right. So then we also went to the Red Hog. And so the Red Hog, you do have some pictures, it looks like. So this is kind of primarily kind of an outdoor space, but there is an indoor little kind of space. And the kitchen is in the living room, but they also have like a beef like store. So it's like a butcher store. And so in this, let's take a look at, let's see if they have Red Hog actually on here. I want to take a look at that. All right, here we go. All right. So yeah, so this is the kitchen. It's just right in the dining room. They have a really actually great pizza oven, which is really nice. I like that. And so, this is nice. It actually was really good food. They make their own meat, like they source their own meat from local places. The food was just incredible. I'm looking to see if there was, okay, yeah. So the burger was really good. I got a roasted chicken, and then my other friend got a pizza. Now it's actually sourdough pizza. And it's yeah, they actually bring out like shearing, like kitchen shears, for you to actually go through and like cut out your pizza, which is kind of wild. But yeah, it's really a great place. We loved that place too. And so, Resi has a lot of great options, but here's the thing. I booked all these places just using Resi because I was kind of like, well, I know we're going to be here for a number of days, and I want to make sure that I'm just essentially just looking at places on Resi. So we pretty much found a lot of places that made sense, right? We were trying to get into the Pine Room. There wasn't really a lot of good options, like as far as that made sense. It is a little bit further outside of the city, but it's one of the harder ones to get reservations to, and I actually wasn't able to get reservations for this. So this was really, honestly, it was amazing. It was an amazing experience. And so Resi really made my trip to Louisville a lot easier. Actually, you know what? I want to go back because I want to show you guys. The next place we went was Huntsville. So, basically what I'm trying to show you guys is that even if you're just traveling, not even to a large city, you can still find a lot of really solid options on Resi. So we're going to go back to all results. Now we're going to look in Louisville or Huntsville. Sorry, we're in Huntsville now. So area is downtown Huntsville, and then kind of extends along these major roads, at least the kind of the big kind of places. So we looked at Cotton Row. Let me see. I want to make sure this is the one we went to. Oh, that's a terrible picture. Okay, we actually didn't actually go to this one, I don't think. Let me see. Oh yeah, Commerce Kitchen. This is the one we went to. So Commerce Kitchen is really, really cool. It's downtown. It's very pretty. Commerce Kitchen, Franklin Street, Southeast. All right, so let's take a look at some of these pictures that they have. They actually had an old fashioned that was made with a aged tequila instead, and it was actually really good. The smokiness, the sweetness, that was really solid. I actually got trout. I think it was rainbow trout there that was done really, really well. The desserts were good. Now, the service in Huntsville was a little bit slower than I would have expected. But, it is, a smaller town, right? And so, there's all sorts of different options. Actually, I think Yeah, that actually looks very similar to what I got. So maybe that is what I got. But yeah, so this is really solid. I really loved this experience. All right, there was another one that I went to that I'm trying to find. It was yeah, so Jane Alexander's Stony River. There's a lot of those around. Okay, maybe it wasn't on. We went to a oyster place too, as well in Huntsville. That was really solid. And then there was a place called Osteria Luca. That was an Italian place that had one of the best lasagnas I've ever had in my life. But it doesn't look like that was a Resi restaurant. Kirby, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate you. Look at Resi restaurants near Irvine, California for me. I need to find a place I can spend less than $30 for a meal, and I can't. Okay, let's take a look. Let's do a challenge. Let's look at Irvine, California. So I'm assuming that's what Southern California. All right, so let's take a look here. All right, so one of the things that I've seen that Resi appears to be really good for is either we're looking at Asian restaurants that are really really expensive, some American restaurants that are really good. Okay, so south of LA, everything's too damn expensive. Well, I think that might be where you're living. So, but let's take a look. Okay, so Aria Kitchen is Mexican. Let's see what they have as far as options. All right, so let's take a look here. DoorDash delivery. Oh, I wonder. Actually, no, that would be through DoorDash, so maybe not. You can book now with Resi. Oh, we're gonna have to log. Oh, yeah. Okay, so lunch menu. They have lamb tacos for $17. Chicken bowl for $16. Tender or thigh. Scottish salmon bowl for $20. I wouldn't describe this place as Mexican though. I guess. Oh, well, I mean, they do have tacos. Just LAified tacos. Yeah, if they don't have prices on the menu, Kirby, it's not a good sign. Interestingly enough, in a lot of the old school places, they will have copies of the menu with no prices on it, specifically because essentially that's supposed to be for your date or something. Which is, I feel like that's less of a common practice. But yeah, that's definitely something to consider. All right, Mediterranean at the Irvine Grill. Okay. Quail Hill Parkway. I don't know where any of this is, but hopefully you do. Let's take a look at a lot of these people like trees on their menus. Oh, you know what? Maybe I wonder if this is one of those things where it's like a company. Yeah, this has got to be one company that just owns a bunch of restaurants. Okay, so we have poultry kebab for $23, $22 chicken kubide. Is that how you say that? I don't know. Let's see, salmon, Scottish salmon for $30. Your salmon definitely has to have a little bit of an accent, right? Oh, you don't eat me. That was my attempt at Scottish, so it was terrible. Let's see, we have a lobia polo with one skewer, kubita. That's a thing apparently. And then we have some soups for you get lentil soup for $9. So there you go. We solved your problem, Kirby. They have rice. Okay, so they have a couple different options. So Mediterranean seems to be interesting. Okay, let's see what else we have. So they do have the kind of the price signs. So let's say Angelina's Pizzeria that has $2 signs. Heirloom Farmhouse Kitchen. All right, so that has all those millennial buzzwords we know and love. Let's take a look at this one. All right, our menus. Okay, let's take a look at the dinner menu. Oh yeah, so this one doesn't have any prices. There you go. Let's see if they actually have heirloom farmhouse heirloom kitchen. Let's see if they got it on here. All right, there we go. Let's see if someone took a picture of the menu. It does not appear so. Wow, that place looks expensive. I don't think that's cheap. Oh, they have crispy Brussels. The thing that I hate about crispy Brussels though is every once in a while they don't chop the edges or the stems off, and that just kind of ruins the whole experience for me. They have a kids pizza. It looks like. Hopefully that's a kids pizza because all that. You know what that looks like? It looks like one of those counter pizzas from Disney. That's exactly what that looks like. All right, so we have. Oh yeah, wow. That's only arugula salad. Is that the salad for people that hate themselves? It has pumpkin seeds, blue cheese, and what is the black thing? I have no idea what the black thing is. That looks like the one of the worst salads I've ever seen in my life. Okay, now that looks good. That looks good. I would pay $30 just for that cinnamon roll. Okay, and they got the I got the avocado bowls, right? So there we go. Okay, not seeing the menu prices though, which is not a good sign. But it does say $1 sign, so maybe that is an option. Okay, so let's see. We're looking at let's see another one that we have. Maybe I'm just cheap, Jack. That Kirby, that might be you. The Royal Hen for $2 signs. Let's take a look at the Royal Hen. This is in Balboa Island, if you know where that is. Okay, all right. So let's see here. Our menus, explore menu. So we get to explore the menu. They do have prices, which is nice. $13 for blistered shishito peppers. I feel like that was really big in the Food Network in the 1990s. Yeah, Justin, I agree. Just straight arugula, no other greens is diabolical. Someone really likes, why is it spicy? All right, Brussels sprout Caesar, $15. I don't know if I would do that. The chicken pot pie for $25. Craft ale, fish and chips, RH burger and fries. All right, hanger steak tacos, 25. Like these are not terrible prices for what you're getting, specifically for the area that you're getting it in, right? Limoncello tort for $15. Like, I mean, it's expensive. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like, oh my God, like I have to mortgage a house kind of expensive. All right, let's see if there's anything else that kind of makes sense. Aria Kitchen. Oh, we talked about them already. Arc Food and Libations. Yeah, so there's a couple different options. Okay, so Kirby says Balboa Island is a beautiful place near Newport. Okay, so let's take a look at a different. This is fun. Let's take a look at another place. Let's see. Let's do Washington D.C. I know Washington D.C. Has anyone ever been to Washington D.C.? You pay for the vibes. Yeah, no, I definitely kind of got that impression. It seemed like it was on the nicer end of nice. Okay, so I've actually been to a decent number of these restaurants. So let's take a look at some of these places. We're going to search kind of lower, like more DC proper. All right, so a couple of these are actually, so I haven't been in DC like for reliably in a couple of years. And so we've actually, lost track of a couple of the good places to go. But the Red Hen is also like really, really popular. It can be kind of difficult to get reservations there. Now let's take a look here. So if you're traveling to DC, the Red Hen is really a solid option if you can get access to a table. Let's see the menus. They do that fun thing where they actually just like change the menu seasonally. But butterleaf salad, antipasta for $19. So spaghetti, just a standard spaghetti is $26. Squid ink linguine for $28. That actually does sound really good. And then pan roasted organic half chicken for $36. All right. And then Berkshire pork chop for 38. That is interesting. A lot of people, when they have like a half roasted chicken, that's kind of their menu pricing kind of baseline. But yeah, that is interesting. All right. So Kirby, let's go ahead and make sure I'm catching back up. So Kirby said, sometimes they don't have price on the menu. Hold on just a minute. All right. Sorry, I'm back. You need to do the gift card trick and stack that $100 credit. Yeah. The gift card thing, honestly, like I haven't once used a gift card yet on any of these options, just because, like, I don't know. Like, I did lose or I will lose a Hilton quarterly credit on my business platinum credit card, and so that's kind of I'm not excited about that, but like keeping track of a bunch of $50 Hilton gift cards just doesn't seem like it would work out for me. And the gift cards, I think the risk of it not working would just be too much for me to not do it. But I do know a number of people that have been successful with the gift card trick. Kirby says back in Ohio, I could go to a bar and grill, get a meal for $15, tip $5. My Delta Reserve credit will be completely used. Yeah, that is true. Ohio is cheaper than LA. What were you thinking, man? Like, come on. But yeah, yeah, no, I get you. It is kind of crazy how expensive restaurants are becoming. Like even just like going to like I think we went to Longhorn one time and it was like $70 for the two of us and it was just like what is going on with life right now? Like it's a steakhouse, sure, but like it's not that nice of a steakhouse, right? We went to Olive Garden recently. I think it was like $30 for the whatever dish I got or something like that. It was stupid. Prices on restaurants are just crazy right now. Let's see here. He said, straight arugula, no other greens is diabolical. Justin, yep, absolutely. Kirby, Balboa Island is a beautiful place near Newport. Okay, you pay for the vibes. I have been to a decent amount of states, but need to focus on more domestic travel in the future. Yeah, I think I really do want to do some more domestic travel. It's just what's weird is like to get to a lot of the places that I want to go to, there's one, maybe two layovers. And it's just like, at that point, like, wow, why do I want to spend a day in an airport to travel to the United States when I could also spend a day at the airport and travel, like to, some other place? But yeah, no, that's, I definitely want to do more domestic travel. I want to take my wife to New England because I used to work in politics. And so I actually used to spend a lot of winters in, New Hampshire and all that. And so, that was nice. And, I definitely want to go there kind of in the fall and kind of see the leaves and everything and do the whole nine yards and everything. I'm actually interested in that Hilton property that does auto camp. So you actually reserve a trailer, right? And you stay in the trailer. And there's one in Cape Cod that looks really cool. Kirby, I have a $20 monthly credit with my Delta Reserve, so I do really want to buy $20 gift cards every month. Or do I really? Yeah, no, yeah, I am a Staples connoisseur. Yeah, no, the Staples is a good goat for that. I have no idea what anything is supposed to cost anymore in California. Yeah, it definitely seems like that's kind of crazy. Yeah, it is. It can be easier to travel internationally sometimes, especially from Orlando. Like it's like one flight from here to London is insane, and they actually have decent award availability on those flights too. And so, like, if I wanted to go, say, to Italy, right? That's two flights, right? Here to Heathrow, Heathrow to Italy, and things like that. And so it's just it's amazing, right? Honestly, the availability for those sorts of things. But if I wanted to go, say, to Seattle, right, I'd have to. I think actually I'd have to go. Alaska Airlines does go from here to some airport in Washington, but it's not Seattle, so I'd have to do kind of a puddle jumper kind of situation, which would be interesting. But yeah, no, it's harder to get to some of those places sometimes. JetBlue actually does. I think they do a direct to Boston from Orlando, which that would be nice. Um, but yeah, everywhere flies to Orlando, which is nice for us. So do have options for that. Okay, so we talked about Resi a little bit. Let's see what else have we not talked about. Let's see, cards, platinum card. I love that Platinum Card has its own landing page on the Amex website now. It's definitely not as kind of spread out as it used to be because it used to be you had to go to all credit cards and then just kind of figure out what you wanted. Oh yeah, let's talk about the entertainment credit. So we're going to take a look at the entertainment credit here. This is really been refreshed a lot. So it used to be $25 a month, or no, it used to be $20 a month. Now it's $25 a month, and so it includes Disney Plus, a Disney Plus bundle, ESPN Plus, Hulu, the New York Times, Paramount Plus, Peacock, the Wall Street Journal, YouTube Premium, and YouTube TV. So basically, I think Peacock was already on, but I think Paramount Plus is new. And then YouTube Premium is definitely new, and YouTube TV is new. And so $25 off is essentially basically a family YouTube Premium plan. And so if you want to have a bunch of people in your household, that gives not only free access to YouTube with no ads, that's great. But then it also gives you access to YouTube Music. If you don't like yourself, you could use that. I actually have free access to YouTube Music. I don't use it. I prefer Spotify's algorithm. It seems to be a little bit better for me than that. Okay, so that is really solid. But anyway, I think I'm actually going to start winding down, unless we have any other questions that we want to do, because my wife and I are actually in nesting mode. And so we're about to go pick up some baby stuff. So we actually picked up two strollers today on Facebook Marketplace, and we saved almost $1,000 from buying, retail. So that's nice. I have a VC box, so it has all the streaming services and all live TV and pay-per-view for UFC. But YouTube Premium would be huge for me. Yeah, I use YouTube Premium. I love YouTube Premium. It's one of my favorite things in the world. I love YouTube Premium because what I love about YouTube Premium is that it lets you play the videos while you're just like you have the screen shut off. So what I do is when I go on my walks, I actually just, instead of listening to podcasts through podcasts, I just listen to YouTube videos while I'm walking my dog, and that way I'm kind of listening to what everyone's saying and stuff. And so that's really nice. Being able to download videos is really nice. So I can download like the Frequent Miler video podcast onto my iPad and then watch that when I'm on the plane and things like that. And so that's kind of my big reason for using that. But anyway, we're going to cut out a little bit early just because I do have to go to do that thing. But anyway, thanks so much, everyone, for visiting me today. Kirby says, thank you. So happy for you, Phillip. I hear the name Kirby is pretty popping these days. Just as a suggestion, of course. Okay, it's definitely on the list. I'll have to see if it's on the short list with my wife. But thanks for the suggestion. I appreciate it. But anyway, thanks again, everybody. So glad that I get to spend my Saturday with you guys. You could be anywhere, but you chose to be here. So thank you again. And I'll see you guys next week. Have a great day. Bye.